Welcome back to the Cauldron, lovelies. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for your time and thank you for your energy. Your presence here makes this feel like a warm, familiar kitchen where friends gather, stories are shared, and there's always room for one more at the table. One of the things I treasure most about this little corner of the internet is that I found a place where I can openly share my practice with people who understand it. The funny thing is, one of the creators who inspired me to do so isn't a witch at all. Far from it, actually. Her name is Miriam, and her tagline is, "I'm an Orthodox Jew, and I share what my life is like." I absolutely love her videos. I love how she lives her life through her faith. The stories, the traditions, they're all really beautiful. The practices around food, from keeping kosher to foods prepared around religious observances. Now, those, I have to tell you, make my kitchen witch heart sing. Ah, the food. I just have so much respect for the way she's so grounded in her faith, but doesn't feel the need to convince anyone else that they should believe it too. She simply shares it openly and lets it stand on its own. I never once watched one of her videos and thought, I need to become an Orthodox Jew. What I have thought is, thank you for letting me see your world. I think that's what so many of us are looking for: connection. We aren't looking for someone to tell us who or what we should be. I honestly believe we're seeking out, consciously or not, people who reflect back the parts of ourselves we want to set free and help give us the strength and the courage to do so. I'm sure there are people within her own community who aren't comfortable with the way she shares her life online. There's people who believe those traditions are private and are not meant for public consumption. Honestly, I can understand that. Every spiritual path has things that are deeply personal and things that aren't meant to be shared. I feel that way about parts of my own practice too. And maybe you do too. Maybe this is why so many of us are practicing in the broom closet. It's this really nice space we can create to safely practice our craft and, more importantly, safely be ourselves. The world can be so judgy-wudgy. Of course, we need a refuge from all of that noise. Sometimes, though, the universe has other plans for us. Let me ask you this. Are you practicing in the broom closet? No judgment here, of course. If so, have you ever accidentally fallen out of the broom closet? Because I think I just did. Here I was, trying to create a post meant for the Stirring Up Magic Facebook page, and with one accidental click, it landed on my personal Facebook page instead. Oops. Now, there are people in my inner circle who would probably tell you they've always known I was into those witchy things. They've seen the way I light up when I wander into a metaphysical shop or buy another witchy book to add to my magical library. They might have caught a post or two about not having enough sage in the world for this shit, because some days the world out there is a dumpster fire, and there really is not enough sage for that shit. Sure, I've shown a glimpse or two into the witchier parts of my life, but nothing that screams out, "Look at me, I'm a witch." People just thought I was into that woo-woo stuff. Here in the online space, I operate under the name The Seasoned Witch. I show up mostly faceless here, and that is by design. When I made the decision to step into this space, my intention was to focus more on the message and less on the messenger. The content I share here on the podcast and out in social media land is intended to support you as you discover who you are as a witch, and to trust what truly resonates with you as you learn and grow in your practice. And while I think the way that I do things is pretty groovy, and I love sharing parts of that with all of you, There are parts that I won't put on display because my beliefs about my practice dictate otherwise. I don't do a lot of big ritual workings online because I believe the internet is a portal to a shared space, and this space is not 100% free of bad energy and bad intentions. I don't want anyone disrupting a working or sending bad juju my way because sadly there are people operating out there who truly don't want good things for us. So, in hopes of keeping myself and my magic safe, I create boundaries around what is open for discussion and what is not, as we all should. We all have the right to practice our craft as we see fit. We don't need anyone else's approval but our own. We're also allowed to show up in the world as ourselves and don't give a damn about what other people think. And as I say these words to you, hoping they serve as words of encouragement, my inner voice is saying, hello? You know this applies to you, right? Self-reflection can be a real bitch sometimes. So, as I sit here, thinking about why I might be deeper in the broom closet than I actually realized, here's what I do know. I choose to work in the shadows as the seasoned witch because it gives me separation between my magical and my mundane life. It allows me to share the parts of myself I want to share with people who choose to be part of the conversation. I'm able to show up for myself in ways that didn't seem possible anywhere else. Here in the broom closet, under the cloak of anonymity, I'm safe to be me. All of me. And out there, I'm honestly not so sure. For a lot of people, the broom closet is a place that keeps their witchcraft practice hidden, and it certainly does serve that purpose well. But what if we saw it differently? What if, instead of seeing the broom closet as a place to hide, we allowed it to become our magical playground? A place where we can explore and have fun while doing it, free of judgment and expectations. Now, I'm not suggesting you go out and practice witchcraft all willy-nilly, because goddess knows how quickly things like that can go sideways. I certainly would not be a responsible witch if I didn't encourage you to follow some sort of structure and practice safely. A safe practice looks like this. Use fire-safe containers for your candles and incense. Don't leave open flames unattended. Learn about the herbs and essential oils you're working with before using them. If part of your practice, be sure your smoke cleansing is done in a well-ventilated space. If you're out foraging, be absolutely certain you know what you've picked before bringing it into your home. Magic should enrich your life, not send you to the emergency room or have you explaining to the fire department why your cauldron is smoking. And I say this as both a witch and a witch who's married to a firefighter. But anyway, what I am suggesting is that you give yourself the time and the freedom to explore the craft without fear of judgment. What would that type of freedom look like for you? Would you finally buy that tarot deck you've been talking yourself out of? Would you light the candle you've been saving for that special occasion? Would you start collecting rocks because they simply make you smile? Would you finally start reading that book about magical correspondences you've been waiting for the right time to start? Would you make yourself that little herbal tea blend you've been curious about? Would you spend an afternoon wandering through a metaphysical shop? I can't tell you how many times I've walked into a shop feeling like I didn't quite look the part. I'm a blonde woman in jeans and a messy bun who has quietly wandered the aisles, worried that everyone else was judging me. I spent years believing I had to know enough before I belonged in places like that. Like I had to earn my place before I was allowed to walk through the door or something. And the truth is, there are people who are going to judge you because of how you look. They're going to make assumptions about who you are, what you know, and how you ended up here. This type of judgment, whether real or perceived, is what leads us to talk ourselves out of the things we find interesting. I recently bought this beautiful rose gold trimmed tarot deck designed for beginners because I felt called to buy it. And for a brief moment, in my mind, I heard, how fluffy bunny of you. You should have gotten the OG Rider-Waite because that's what real witches would do. I cannot tell you how much I hate the phrase fluffy bunny. I've been practicing for more than 20 years, and I hate that I still hear it even in my own thoughts. Why do I still allow this phrase to hold any type of power over me? I think part of the answer is the internet. When I started taking steps on this path, there was no social media. What I learned, I mostly read in books. Listen, the internet is an amazing place to learn about witchcraft. More often than not, what we're learning is somebody else's interpretation of the craft. And there are some very skilled teachers out there, people who have dedicated years to learning, practicing, and sharing what they've learned. There's also wonder and excitement and aesthetics and judgment. So much judgment. I see it all the time. Just the other day, I came across a video with a title about what real witches think about witch talk or something like that. I didn't even click on it. It's not a hashtag I normally use, so I don't really know the context. In fact, I could be completely wrong because I'd never watched the video. My first impression was simply, oh, this probably has something to do with some kind of drama. It seems like whenever someone is reacting to someone else online, there's usually some kind of disagreement happening. Again, I could be completely wrong, but it did make me stop and think, I've been talking about my practice on TikTok. Why is this a problem? But is it though? No, it's not. The problem is that despite how long I've been practicing, I still have moments where I'm not as confident as I should be. Sometimes it makes me wonder if a little bit of the motivation behind my content philosophy, faceless because the message is more important than the messenger, might still be me seeking that same level of safety I found in the broom closet as a new broom. And maybe this is where you are too. Maybe you've stayed in the broom closet for some of the same reasons I did. I mean, it is pretty comfy in here. I think I have enough crystals and candles and books to power a small coven in here. I think it's important to get curious about why we continue to stay in the broom closet, though. Are we enjoying the solitude? Or have we simply gotten used to hiding in it? Every choice we make serves us in some way. Sometimes our choices keep us safe and allow ourselves to heal. Sometimes they give us the space we need to become who we're meant to be. And sometimes the reasons we convince ourselves are serving us aren't really serving us at all. Staying in our comfort zone has a way of keeping us safe, but keeping us stuck there too. So maybe the question is whether you should stay in the broom closet. Maybe the question is whether it's still serving you in the ways that you thought. And this question is one I plan to sit with for a little while. Because if I'm asking it of you, I owe it to myself to answer it honestly too. I know there are parts of me that are ready to step a little further into the light, but I also know there are parts of me that still need the safety of the broom closet for a little while longer. I think the real magic is in being honest enough to acknowledge that both are true. Will the seasoned witch ever completely step out of the broom closet? Maybe, maybe not. I still believe the message is more important than the messenger. The witch behind the seasoned witch, however, she just might be ready to do exactly that. And as we end this reflection about the usefulness of the broom closet, I'd like to offer you a blessing for you in your practice. May I have the wisdom to know what is mine to share and what is mine to hold close. May my practice be rooted not in fear of being seen, but in the quiet confidence of living truthfully. Whether my practice is whispered or spoken out loud, whether it's shared with many or known only to me, may it always be an honest reflection of who I am. May I find the courage to grow at my own pace, the wisdom to honor my boundaries, and the grace to let my path unfold in its own time. And wherever this journey leads, may my practice always bring me home to myself. And so it shall be. Until next time, stay steady, stay grounded, stay magical. Blessed be.